Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Rising Tide Leadership Podcast, Church Hub AI Edition, created in partnership with my buddy, Rick Bulman. Rick, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Another good episode. I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, we're on episode 6 right now of The Future Church, and you've entitled this one, Rick, The Connected Church, Building Community in a Digital World. And the subtitle you have here is How to Create Authentic Relationships and Real Discipleship in an Age of Screens, Streams, and Social Feeds. I love that, man.
Yep.
And so we're gonna jump right into this because we're trying to find a balance between faith and technology. You don't want to lose a spiritual depth, but you got to grab onto the new stuff. And so if what we're talking about here resonates with you, make sure to share it with a pastor buddy of yours or somebody else, especially in the church world, that can and should be using this kind of stuff. So here we go, Rick. I got several questions for you, as always.
All right,
and we'll go from there. So first one is this. Churches everywhere are trying to navigate the tension that we just talked about, being online and staying connected. People are attending online now. They're streaming on their apps. They're in their cars. They're on the treadmill. They're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
How would you define a connected church in the digital era?
Yeah, that's actually a great place to start. A connected church isn't just one that's online. It's one that is relational. It's not about streaming services. It's really about the goal of strengthening people. So whether someone's in the room with you or watching from their living room, the goal is the same. It's always, and it should always be, spiritual formation and belonging. So keep that at the forefront, no matter if you're doing it in person or online.
Yeah, I think people really mess up the word connected in church. It's like, okay, COVID happened. What the heck happened here? Now we've got to be able to stream. We got to have people in church. We got to have people around the church, all this stuff. And people are just really, they don't understand that we're in a different, we're in a different era now. So
can I say something on that though?
Absolutely.
Even though we're in this different era, not to interrupt, but and I think you and I, we totally see eye to eye on this. Nothing replaces face-to-face connection. Yeah, it just doesn't. Ideally, technology should support our relationships, not substitute them. So, we're not always in the same room. But we live in this 2026 era where everybody's on Zoom or online or in, instant messaging each other on social media apps. So it helps us stay connected in between the personal face-to-face moments. So the problem comes when it becomes our more preferred way of connecting, which replaces the personal touch that God designed us to need. So even though we're in this digital age, so to speak, it can't replace the desire for face-to-face connection. I think we still need to have that and be intentional about that.
And Rick, what can't be replaced ever, and it doesn't matter how digital we get, nothing can replace horrible, bad, gross, sludgy church coffee. You just can't. You can't replace it. There's something about being at the Saturday morning men's breakfast and saying, why haven't we gone to Starbucks? Why haven't we gone to Proudly Brewing Starbucks like the church next door? We still have the big silver percolator.
Yeah.
The one I'm talking about.
Doing that thing. Yeah.
So just remember, people, if you haven't had bad church coffee in about a month, you're not doing it right. That's all I got to say.
That's right.
Rick, I'm very passionate about my bad church coffee. So you just, So the second question is this. Technology becomes the preferred way of connecting. I get it. But we're losing something sacred, right? So a lot of pastors feel like the digital ministry makes relationships shallow. How do we keep those online connections meaningful and spiritual? Is there a way to do that?
I mean, that's the real challenge. Technology can help us stay connected, but it can't help us grow connected unless we're intentional. Awareness is easy to build online, but depth isn't. I would say the goal is to always move people from content to community. If someone watches a sermon online, don't stop there. Reach out, invite them into a group conversation, learn their name, learn their story. And when you make a digital connection personal and relational, that's when it starts to become discipleship, not just data. So digital ministry should always have a relational next step.
Man, I love it. Pastors, what's the next step that your church is taking to offer people to watch online or to be a part of the next big thing at your church? We'd love to hear. So Rick, About the technology piece
Mhm.
specifically, though, how can pastors, how can leaders within the church keep authenticity when everything online feels like it's curated, it's
Yeah.
produced, everything, everybody's putting their best foot forward. What do we
Mhm.
do?
Very polished.
Absolutely.
Authenticity is, I believe, is what people crave most. You know, you don't need, and I fail at this, but I'm gonna say what I don't sometimes do. You don't need perfect lighting to make an impact. I'm such a visual, it's like, wait, the lighting's off. There's a shadow there. Yeah, who cares? I just think people need honesty. Show the behind the scene moments, share the struggles. You don't have to have the latest and greatest camera, I mean, yeah, that helps, but people have seen the polished. They just want realness. So show the struggles, celebrate the wins, celebrate the losses. Just do it with humility. I don't think the world needs another polished feed. I think it just needs pastors who are real. And that's the thing. People can spot fakeness faster than ever, but they also respond to transparency faster than ever.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things to ask now, every time I see something on Twitter or X or whatever,
Yeah.
Instagram, you always ask right away. You're like, "Is that AI?" And
Is that
that's
AI?
that's that's the funny, almost jokingly, like,
Mhm.
"Is this real?" But everything looks so real now. You're just like,
It
"I
does.
I don't know. I think this is real." So Rick, there is a debate, right?
Yeah.
In this debate of being online and being in person and discipling people, here's the question. Can you actually disciple people digitally?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say the best way to discipleship happens face to face. That's the best, most purest. But there's something about being physically present. But when distance or schedules make that impossible, technology can still help us stay consistent and connected. Discipleship isn't confined to a coffee table. It's really about intentionality, consistent investment. So you can meet on Zoom, send weekly devotionals, or check in through a group text. As long as it stays relational, accountable, and scripture centered, I think you're good. A digital disciple may not be in the same room, but if the relationship is genuine and growth focused, I think it's still real discipleship.
Yeah, I think some of my best groups that I've had is where we opened up like the Bible app. A lot of people have the Bible app,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I read it
I think
this
it's by
morning.
YouVersion or
Yep.
yeah, and we would all go through that together, but we would still get together on a weekly basis. So we would
Yes.
go through the daily scriptures and days. We pick a specific course to go through, whether it's 3 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever. But we would come together and we would talk about that, and so there was
Hmm.
value in both. But
Yeah.
again, we had to have both. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
You need both. I
yeah,
think in this day
and
and age.
and honestly, Rick, that's encouraging to me. But what would you say to pastors who feel like the digital connection, man, it's replaced in-person community. I don't need to have that at all. I got to stay away from it. What do you say to those guys?
I think you're missing a huge opportunity for discipleship. I would say first, don't see them as competitors online versus in person ministry. Try not to look at them as opposites. They're connected because they're parts of the same mission. So think of it this way: when Jesus met in homes, he meets in hills, on hillsides, along the road. He was meeting them in spaces where life happened. For us today, some of those spaces they're physical. There are workplaces, coffee shops, neighborhoods, parks, stuff like that. But I mean, let's be real. Some are digital. And because that's where people now spend a huge part of their lives, technology actually gives us access to where people already are. So it doesn't replace the power of being present with them, but it creates another avenue for us to be with them. So the goal is to let digital connections serve as a bridge to real in person relationships whenever it's possible.
Man, I love that. And so, I've heard you say before that technology can build tables, not stages. Can you break that down for me? What does that mean? Technology can build tables, not
Yeah.
stages.
Yeah. When technology becomes a table, it creates space for conversation, not just consumption. It's where people gather to share stories, where they gather to pray, where they gather to grow together. A live stream might draw a crowd. That would be like your stage, but a chat thread can build a family. It's like a table. You get to know everybody a little more intimately. And that's the shift. We're not performing for viewers. We're inviting them to participate as a body of people connecting.
Love it. It's very, very deep.
Yeah.
I
And I heard that from
appreciate it.
someone. I didn't make that up. I wasn't driving and went, "Ooh, I'm profound." No, I
Yeah,
heard
that's right.
that. I'm like, "I love
It was
that."
on a billboard somewhere and you thought,
Yeah,
"I gotta
yeah,
use this one." Yeah,
exactly.
right,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I'm stealing that. So I'm just being honest because remember, we like transparency.
Well, good pastors borrow, the best pastors steal, so, just give the recognition and you're
That's
good to
it.
go, right?
That's it. Yep. Yep.
So what are some of the dangers then of building church in the digital age without spiritual depth?
Yeah, I would say it's the difference between visibility and vitality. The biggest danger is mistaking visibility for vitality. Just because something looks alive online doesn't mean it's producing fruit. So when likes replace lives changing, we've got a problem. When we're more about how many likes, how many views, all about the data and not the depth of people's growth. And we should be more charged about the depth of people's growth rather than the likes and the clicks and all of that. So a healthy digital ministry must still point people to prayer, repentance, community, discipleship, not just engagement metrics.
Yeah, and we're not saying that the engagement, the metrics aren't important. We're
Correct.
trying to add to the kingdom. So I get that. So a pastor has to be online. Like, how do you guard your soul as a pastor when so much ministry now is happening through screens? Like, you got to be there.
Yes.
And there's some dangers within that, and you can get disconnected, and there's all this stuff. What do
Yes.
you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. It's a great question because it's easy to pour out digitally and never refill spiritually. Pastors need rhythms of rest away from their screens, from their phones, from their computer, all of it. So take walks, actually read a physical Bible, have real life conversations. I would say guard against confusing digital presence with divine presence. The screen can extend your ministry, but it can also drain your soul if you're never unplugged. So guard your heart before you start guarding your inbox.
Yeah, I
I
feel
mean,
like
yeah,
sometimes, yeah, man, gosh, I feel like I do that. I guard my inbox sometimes, I
yeah.
think, more than I should, right? And so, uh, you know, there's there's probably different ways to recharge. And pastors, we would love to hear how you recharge away from the screen. Share it with us. Do you get away for an hour, for a day? How do you do your Sabbath now? Do you leave your phone somewhere? Do you lock it up? Do you have, your family, take it from you? What do you do? How do you
Mhm.
recharge? Rick, want to get practical here. What are some tools that actually can help churches stay relationally connected online?
Yeah, I would say tools like Church Hub AI make it easier to reclaim a lot of your time as a pastor so you can be more about people than paper. Follow up with visitors, send personalized messages, keep track of care needs and stuff. But there's also other things out there, simple ones like WhatsApp group chats or text threads, or I use Slack as well. That's another great program. Slack channels, text based devotionals. The key isn't, I would say this, the key isn't which tool you use, it's whether it actually helps you stay personally connected to people. Technology should help you remember stories, help you remember relationships and needs, not just track the attendance and data points and stuff like that. When used wisely, technology should make your shepherding more personal and more intentional, never detached or mechanical. If it feels detached and mechanical, we need to have a conversation. Just saying.
Rick, what's one thing that you'd really want pastors to remember about building community in this
Mm.
digital world?
Yeah, in the digital world, the medium may change, but the mission hasn't. Ministry is always about people. It has not changed since the days that Jesus walked on this planet. It's not screenshots, it's not clicks, it's just simply people. Use every digital opportunity. Go for it, but use it to point people to real life faith, real life accountability, real life community. And I would say just try to remember that technology is temporary and relationships are eternal. It's got to be about the people.
Man, I love it. So, pastors, that wraps up episode 6 of The Future Church. Again, with my good buddy, Rick from churchhub.ai. And remember, a connected church it's not defined by the Wi-Fi signal, but more about the relational strength. And so next week, Rick, you're going to be taking us through episode 7, which is innovation and integrity, leading with conviction in a tech-driven world. We'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe this with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to go to rtclc.com to sign up for the newsletter. It's free. Rick, thanks, brother. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mo.